Great news for Necron players this week, we're getting some new models. That's right, the Geomancer is back. Games Workshop has enacted the reanimation protocols on the Geomancer. He hasn't been around for a long time and it's great to have him back. He's going to be part of a new Kill Team set that was revealed during GW's Big Summer Preview, and alongside him we're getting some exciting new Canoptek constructs. Really interesting. And we've also had confirmation already that they are going to get datasheets and rules for 40k. So join me as we take a dive into what these new units are, how they could play on the tabletop, and what this all means for Necron players. I'm also going to be highlighting one thing that you might have missed from the reveal show. So, what were the new Necron reveals? Well, this is a new box set for Kill Team called Kill Team Tomb World, and as the name suggests, there is a battle mat and some lovely terrain that's all Necron themed. You're also getting a Deathwatch Kill Team. There will be the Space Marine protagonists in this box, and then we get the Geomancer and his Canoptek constructs as their opponents. And you also, as a bonus, get 10 warriors and 3 scarabs in this box, so it's already looking pretty good. Getting into it, let's have a look at what exactly are the new minis in this Kill Team box. As mentioned, you get the Geomancer, he's a Cryptek, and then his Canoptek constructs. There's 4 of those, let's take a look. You get the Accelerator, the Reanimator, the Tomb Crawler, and the Macrosite Warrior. The community reactions were largely positive, which is as it should be in my opinion. Most Necron players were very excited to be getting the return of the Geomancer and also these new Canoptek constructs. A few people were a bit disappointed. They were saying that the Deathwatch Kill Team is so good, the minis are sculpted so well that they clearly got all the love. I mean, Space Marines are always going to get more attention because they sell boxes. And also, Deathwatch are the OG Kill Team, so I did expect them to get more love. But that said, I don't think that these are bad models. The Geomancer sculpt in particular is lush. I really like it. And I'm also a massive fan of the Tomb Crawler. Couldn't say the word there. Tomb Crawler. Little skittery fellow with a gun on his back. Looks great. So, who is the Geomancer and what do they do? Well, let's get into it. Now, they were originally part of the 5th edition reboot of Necrons. This was a major reboot, and it was when Necron lore got a dramatic rewrite. And the Geomancer was one of 6 disciplines of Cryptek, which has been created in the lore. So we have the Technomancer, who's a specialist in repairing Necrons, the Chronomancer, who manipulates time, the Plasmancer, who wields raw energy, the Psychomancer, who wages psychological warfare, the Ethermancer or Ethermancer, who harnesses the power of storms, and then the Geomancer, who transmutates matter. You can literally change the atoms in something to make it into a different substance. Looking beyond the Geomancer at the rest of the box, let's take a look at the Canoptek constructs. Now, they've all got that distinctive Canoptek look, which is basically bugs made of living metal, I guess. Some of them, as you can see, look very similar to the existing Plasmacite. Now, the Plasmacite was a playable model up until 10th edition when it just became a token for destroyer units like Scorpex and Ophidians. The Accelerator, now that's actually very similar to the one in the existing Herotech Circle Kill Team. And the Reanimator is almost identical to the Plasmacite, but it has a blade at the end of its tail instead of an orb. The Tomb Crawler, if you look closely at that has legs like a Scorpec, and it has 2 gun variants here. We'll come on to those later. And the Macrosite Warrior, I really like this actually. It has a top-mounted gun, and it also has claws like an Ophidian destroyer. The Macrosites, to me, they almost look wasp-like, as if GW is admitting that it shouldn't have taken the Acanthrites off us and is giving us a kind of a replacement unit. Whether they'll perform the same as Acanthrites on the tabletop, we don't know yet, but we'll come on to that in a second. Now that we've covered off what the units look like, let's get into the really interesting stuff. How could these units play on the tabletop? We don't know yet, so we're speculating, but we can take some guesses. Firstly, the Geomancer. He's probably going to play like all the existing Crypteks, the 4 that we've got in our codex, as in that they can lead certain units. He could potentially just be a lone operative, but I'm expecting him to be a leader. Going all the way back to 5th edition, the Geomancer had 3 key pieces of war gear. Firstly, they had the Harp of Dissonance, which turns enemies into brittle matter and then shatters them. How cool is that? They had the Seismic Crucible, which basically summons earthquakes. And they had the Tremor Staff, which reduced enemy movement. So in my opinion, if they stay lore accurate, I think there's potential there for the Geomancer to do mortal wounds like a Plasmancer with his Harp of Dissonance. The Crucible and the Tremor Staff, I think that's probably going to be movement nerfs to enemy units, perhaps -2 movement. That's something that we've seen commonly with units that have similar abilities. Moving on to the Macrosite Warriors, you get 3 of these in the box. Now, in Kill Team, they are described as being basically expendable chaff. And it probably could be the same in 40k. It's unusual for that to be different in 40k from Kill Team. So could they be kind of like Scarabs, but with a bit more punch and some OC maybe? I mean, they have claws and what looks like a one-shot Gauss Reaper. So they've definitely got some shooting and melee. And if they do get some OC, they will be ideal cheap action monkeys, which is something you could argue is missing from our codex at the moment. Looking at the accelerator, we get 1 in the box here. In my eyes, this looks like it will attach to a Cryptek in the same way that Cryptothralls do. And I'm expecting it to grant a movement buff. What I would love, what I'm hoping for, is advance and charge, because we don't have access to that at the moment. That would be amazing. But I think it's more likely to be something like +1 to movement for a unit. Maybe it's +1 to advance and charge rolls, something like that. Also, a solo mini in the box is the Reanimator. Now, obviously, we already have a Canoptek Reanimator. This is like a much, much smaller version. So it looks again like it'll attach to a Cryptek and therefore to a unit. And I would expect it to grant a mini reanimation buff. So it won't be anywhere near as powerful as the Canoptek Reanimator, which gives us an additional D3 to reanimation. Maybe it'll be a +1 to rolls or an ability to re-roll. Something along those lines, I expect. Next up, and there's 2 of these in the box, are the Tomb Crawlers. And the 2 gun options that they've shown us look to me very much like the Gauss Blaster, which Immortals have, and the Transdimensional Beamer, which Wraiths have. So both already exist in 40k. Could they be the same profiles? I would expect so, or something pretty similar. Again, with them only being 2 of them, and then haven't got the greatest amount of shooting, are they going to be another kind of a cheap chaff or screening unit? We'll just have to wait and see. Having taken a look at what they might do on the tabletop, I've got a few additional thoughts. Firstly, this could be really good for Canoptek Court. The reasons for this is because all of these units are going to have the Cryptek or the Canoptek keyword. So if their data sheets are strong, the biggest beneficiary out of our detachments will be Canoptek Court. That doesn't mean we can't play them in other detachments, but it just means they're likely to help Canoptek Court the most. And it needs a little leg up at the moment, so that could be a really good thing. Secondly, and I guess I need to hold my hands up here, I kind of got a call wrong. It wasn't really a prediction, it was more of a guess, but I'd heard rumours that this Kill Team set was coming out, and my prediction or my guess was that the Kill Team for Necrons would be a unit called Pariahs. Pariahs are a very old Necron unit. They haven't been around for many editions. They're beloved by some very older Necron players, but unfortunately GW has decided not to bring them back. It's gone in a different direction, and that's pretty cool. As I've said, I really like this new Canoptek construct ideas. I love the fact they've brought the Geomancer back, so I'm happy with that. Speaking of bringing back, will we ever see the 6th Cryptek, the Aethermancer? And my guess at the moment, and again this is just a guess, and I'm 0 for 1 at the moment on guesses, but my guess is that it won't. And the reasons for this is I just think that lore-wise, its abilities of harnessing the storm, etc., is just a bit too similar to the Plasmancer. You know, the Plasmancer's got his kind of lightning attacks, he dishes out his mortal wounds, and the Aethermancer is just going to be a bit too close to that, in my opinion. GW might well prove me wrong, but I wouldn't expect to see the Aethermancer anytime soon. Another big question is pricing and release date. How much is it going to cost, and when can we buy it? So let's get into that. So pricing wise, the last benchmark that we've got to go on was Kill Team Typhon, which was released earlier this year. And in UK sterling, that was £100 if you bought it direct from Warhammer. Now, I'd expect this box set, the Kill Team Tomb World, to top £120. So I'm guessing about 20% more expensive. And this is because it has more terrain in it and you get an extra sprue of Necron warriors with the scarabs. Release date wise, well, the last Kill Team box set was Typhon, as I said, and that was actually announced in April, but it wasn't released until June. If this one follows the same pattern, it could be October before this set is on the market, which from my perspective is good because I need some time to save some money for it. Speaking of purchasing it, will I be buying it? Absolutely. I'm a big fan of this set. In fact, I'm going to try and get hold of 2 of them if I can. I say if I can because if it follows the same pattern as Kill Team Typhon, then demand significantly outstripped supply. There was scalping going on. There was lots of wailing and gnashing of teeth. Hopefully GW knows that Necrons are a more popular faction than Tyranids, and they make more of these boxes because we will buy them. So that's the new reveals pretty much wrapped up. But before you go, there is probably one thing I think some of us might have missed in the reveal show, so I would like to dive into that with you. Take a closer look at this Deathwatch Blade Master from the new Kill Team. You can clearly see there he's stolen one of our blades. And if you look closer, look at the curvature of it. I think that is almost identical to a Scorpec blade. Somebody in the comments said to me that he must be from the Raven Guard because they're all thieves. He's clearly nicked it. Okay, thanks so much for watching. And please let me know in the comments what you think about this video. Are you going to be buying this new box? Are you worried about availability? Have I missed any ideas for how these new units could work and what their datasheets could look like? Let me know. I'll try and reply to all the comments as I always do. And thank you also so much for all your engagement on these videos, for your likes, your comments, your shares, your subscriptions. Thank you so much to all my subscribers. If you want to support the channel more, come and join our Patreon or YouTube channel membership. There'll be links in the comments or the description. You will get early access to some of these videos as one of the perks. At this point, I would like to say a huge, huge thank you to all our Patrons and YouTube channel members. Your names will be on screen now. And thank you also to everyone who contributed to the discussion about this new Kill Team box set. We had loads of comments on YouTube, on Facebook, on Instagram, and on Discord. That was partly on the competitive Necrons Discord. Shout out to them. And also we have our own Discord, which is free to join. I'll leave a link in the description. Come on over and join us. So thanks again for watching, and I'll be back soon with another video.